Good morning. There we go. I am totally here. I'm just trying to get some dogs on camera for y'all. There we go. Now we got some dogs. And hey, Disillusioned. I'm missing something. What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing my glasses. That might help, huh? I'm still not entirely used to them. So, hey, Uncle Bill. Hey, Kerbal. Because I know you guys popped in and said hello. Hey, Guido. How you doing? What's for dinner? I'm still trying to figure out what to make for dinner myself. I could make pizza, but I don't know if I have any cheese. And nope, I can't even make cheese because I have lactose-free milk. Hey, Uncle Bill, thanks for the host. Hey, Puck, speak. Come on, speak. Speak, come on. Tinker, can you speak? Oof. Speak, come on. All right, he tried. He said thank you. So, you can't see me throwing the Cheerios, but here it goes. And make it rain! All right. And Puck is very happy. Disillusioned makes the unhappy cat face. I don't know where the cat is, Disillusioned. I am afraid to wake him. I'm afraid to wake the cat, quite frankly. Because then he'll get all demanding. But, if the cat does make an appearance, I have cat food for him. So, if the cat shows up, I have cat food. Because he apparently does not want to eat the fancy treats I bought for him. Unless he's by his food bowl. So, alright, that's fine, Uncle Bill. Thanks again for the host. And lurk view is totally cool. It's totally cool. I totally understand that, you know, you have to go AFK. Aw, Guido's bigger tablet is hateful. And let's try and force to reboot it. So I'm just kind of cleaning up my desk. I found a way to get, without a whole lot of extra equipment, I found a way to get my doggy cam to hang and give me like a desk, like a, I don't know what you call it, an overhead view of my desk. So I could, in theory, fold origami and for you guys, well, you can watch, but then we lose the dogs. So, and this music sounds a little creepy, so we're going to download it so it never comes back again. Just make sure I get rid of all the Discord thingies, notifications. But yeah, I could totally fold origami and you guys could watch, but then there would be no dogs. So I don't know how everybody feels about that. And I'm like, I would have to get a third webcam if I wanted to have myself, overview, and dogs. So. And the webcam that the dogs are on is really old and it can't be mounted to, it's not really old. But there's no longer Windows support for it, even though it's a Microsoft webcam. So it's not really old, but there's not a whole lot of support for it. So speaking of doggy cam, we're gonna adjust it a little bit. Yeah, I know. It's literally just meant to sit on like your desk or on the back of your overhang your monitor. But there's no place to there's no 1/4 inch screw to attach to, you know, a tripod. But I did find that I can take that loop and hang it through the suspension mount for my microphone. So Veronica says, whatever you think is best, read dogs versus origami. This would probably, I'm thinking about setting up my own personal stream. So this would not be on CosmoQuest because I totally use the distractions of the dogs on CosmoQuest. Plus, everybody's conditioned now that when things happen, the dogs get Cheerios. So I would hate to take that away. But for my personal stream, because I do notice that the dogs eventually are just leave the dog bed and aren't on camera. That they're more of an occasional thing. And I think a new webcam would be too heavy to pull off on the suspension mount. So, I don't know. The copyright laws around origami are kind of fascinating. I found out that it's okay to essentially stream and teach people without any like limitations or things to be aware of if it's a classic model, which means that the model's over 100 years old. But newer models, you at least need to get the artist's permission to fold them on stream. So there's a few that I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. Which amazes me because the Kawasaki rose is literally everywhere. It's a very tricky model. And I don't know if the author ever like essentially allowed it to be everywhere, or if everybody was like, hey, this is a really cool model, let's fold it. Yeah, there's totally copyright on origami. There's a copyright on diagrams and not so much the finished model, but the copyright's on the diagrams and on the essentially instructions of how to fold. It's fair game if you've watched somebody fold it and learn it that way. If you sat and watched a origami demonstration of somebody folding a Kawasaki rose, for example, that's fair game. And fold it for yourself for your own private purposes, your display at home, that's fair game. Teaching others how to make classic models, that's fair game. Displaying classic models in public is art, that's fair game. But if it's a modern model, you at least need to get author's permission to display it in public, to sell the finished model, to republish the diagram, to republish instructions, to teach it to other people. It's kind of fascinating. Because everybody's like, but it's just paper, but it's an art form. I know, I'm getting there. It's an art form that ends up with something physical, and I know. And yeah, it is intellectual property. So I figured I would fold, I know it's okay for me to fold cranes on stream because that's considered a classic model. And you can literally find crane diagrams everywhere. It's okay for me to fold bird bases and frog bases and fish bases. I think those are all considered classic. Michael T. Meyer asks, have you switched from space toilets to origami copyright rules? Not entirely. Not entirely. Yeah. Veronica says, yeah, like a knitting pattern. Exactly like a knitting pattern, exactly like a crocheting pattern. That's actually a really good way to think about it if you're familiar with that kind of thing. Yeah. Because a diagram is essentially, it's instructions of how to fold a piece of paper into, you know, what folds in what order, and sometimes flipping the paper around to get the finished model. So no, space toilets are still my jam. I'm thinking about starting my own personal stream where I fold origami. So I'm thinking about it because I do want to fold 1,000 cranes, and I have no idea how long that's going to take. And I know that can be mind-numbingly boring. And I'd also... Are you done? The dogs have opinions of this, of course. I'd like to fold 1,000 cranes. I know that can be mind-numbingly boring. And there's some modular ones that I'd like to fold as decorative things, but I don't know if that's okay because I'm not sure. It gets really tricky because I don't know modular origami as well as I know like traditional origami. So yeah, if I fold any origami on the CosmoQuest stream, it will be with paper that I have that's essentially, you know, astronomy pictures that I had cut out from calendars. You can do origami with pretty much any kind of paper. The model, depending on how complicated the model is and your skill level, it depends on how thick of a paper you can get. So, hey Refs Matt, how you doing? Yeah, just chatting about origami, and I'm prepared for the cat. If he decides to show up, I'm prepared for the cat. He won't eat the fancy cat treats. Where are the fancy cat treats? So all of these are for the cat. There's like 36 tubes in here. He will eat them, just not at the desk. I have to put him in his food bowl. So actually get one ready for him later today. Chicken with scallop. Hey, Dr. Pamela. You missed the fact that, you know, origami has copyright rules. It's like knitting patterns. Alright, so I got a treat for the cat, I got food for the cat, I have the special treats for the dogs, which came from a tiny shop in, well, not tiny shop, but it came from a shop in Edwardsville. And they are, I think, just apple flavored. Yeah, I know, I have your special treats. You're not getting your special treats. Yeah. Yeah, so any like spaceship origami I couldn't fold on stream without the artist's permission, author or diagram author's permission, essentially. So I can fold it by myself for my own personal use, but actually showing me folding it could be considered me teaching it. So I can fold traditional or classic models that are over 100 years old on stream safely. But things like spaceships, like I can show the finished thing, but I can't show it on stream because that might be perceived as teaching the model. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of a bummer. But I can make cranes with like galaxies, so there's that. There's that. Alright, do we have everybody? I feel like we don't have everybody. I feel like we're still missing people. Of course I can't scroll all the way down to the bottom. Hey Astro Bee! Yes, I still care about space toilets. I still care about space toilets. And yes, it's still me. It's still me. But today's my usual day, so it's okay. It's okay. Stormer Joe. Hi there, Stormer Joe. So we're prepared for the cat if the cat decides to raid us. Hey, Ironheart. See, this is how I draw the lurkers out. I am evil. Disillusioned. I know, you want to see the cat, don't you? Cat is kind of one of those things where, and the dogs have learned. Hey, Gem Doctor! The dogs have learned that if they're not on the dog bed, treats get thrown, so they are on the dog bed. This is a dangerous. Hey, JB McCool. Yeah, my cat, for those of you that don't know, my cat sounds like a screaming baby. So if you hear a screaming baby, it's not a baby. It's actually my cat screaming for food. And he is quite annoying. Michael T. Meyer is asking, or saying hello to Dr. Pamela and asking how she's doing. She survived the storms. That debris mass on radar yesterday was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. There, now we have some floof on camera. Have some floof on camera. Wait a few more minutes, get everybody in. Hey, DPI! Everybody's just gonna bust out the cat emotes. Hey, Larry, Weird and Proud. So, Star Strider says, I am eating a burrito and enjoying coughing much, much less, but talking triggers coughing still. Oh my. That does not sound pleasant at all. Let's see, I have some cat emotes too. Because somebody was awesome and gifted the account a subscription to Sand Experiment. So there's my cat emotes. I think I have more. Yeah, somebody was totally awesome and was like, yep, here's a subscription to Sand Experiment. Yeah, I didn't even, like, somebody just gifted the account a subscription to Sand Experiments. I'm like, oh, okay. And almost all of her emotes are cats, which I find hilarious. She also has a sand monster and a cat coin and a sand salt shaker, Bob. Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. Look at all of her emotes. Just, her emotes are amazing. Chandra Loon says, I just hear a screaming cat. I've never heard a screaming baby. Those are two distinct sounds. If a baby sounds like that, a trip to the doctor is needed. Indeed. Indeed. But a lot of people are like, is there a baby here? I'm like, there's no child here. Trust me, there's no child here. And when I have been in charge of small humans, tiny humans, they have never sounded like that. So to me, it sounds different, but I guess if you're not used to hearing tiny humans, it can sound like a child. Star Strider says it also depends on the quality of speaker and headphones, I think. Yeah, my mom has been here, and like, my mom knows full well that there's no tiny humans in my house, and she's just like, yeah, your cat sounds like a crying baby. So I'm just used to it. Oh, look at all those cat emotes from Bad Panda Bear. All right. Star Strider adds, okay, add in quality of ears as well. Yeah. But yeah, I am totally ready for the cat. I have a tube of treat that he is not going to eat, which of course got green screened. Chicken and scallop, and then I have a can of cat food, which is turkey feast in gravy. He will choose the cat food over the treat. Astro B says, Siamese cats sound like that. I have not been around enough Siamese cats to know this. My sister had a Siamese cat at one point. But I'd never spent enough time around her cat to know what it sounded like. Oh, yes, I've had coffee before somebody spams the coffee command. Yes, I've had coffee. Siamese elephants now. See, now I don't know what kind of sound Siamese elephants make. That would be wild. If they sounded like small children. See, I knew somebody would do it. I knew somebody would spam the coffee emote, or command. No, I've had coffee. Trust me, I've had coffee. Alright, this song sounds a little disturbing. And this one is titled You Are My Annihilation. So we're also just gonna turn that down. I wonder why they have horrible meows, the Siamese cats. Alright, so I do another check. I see Fenring. I'm gonna call out Fenring even though he's lurking. So it looks like pretty much everybody's here. So I'm spawning the dinner emoji. Oh, seafood sounds amazing. Yep, see, see. I didn't realize Felicia Day streamed. All fancy and have a Felicia Day emote. Look at you. Look at you. Alright, so we're going to make sure I have everything ready, because if I don't, that's just silly. And it looks like I have everything ready. And there we go. Alright. Her brother streams too. That is super cool. Alright. So I'm gonna pause the music. You all know the routine by now. Music's paused. Close the music tab so it doesn't automatically start again, because it does sometimes. And then I'm gonna roll the credits. Or not roll the credits. It's way too early to be rolling the credits. I'm gonna roll the rocket, and I don't know where the small dog is, so I guess we're not going to do lapdog docking today. And then we're gonna get at it. We're gonna get to all, you know, the space launchy, you know, type news that we do today. Plus a special surprise! So stay tuned to the end for the special surprise. Alright, so where is it? I will get better at this one day, I promise. Alright, and here we go. Alright, hello everybody, welcome to Daily Space for today, May 22nd, 2019. I am your host, Annie Wilson, and we're going to talk about all the launchy goodness that, you know, happened in the past week and will happen in the next week, plus a special surprise! So stay tuned for the special surprise, and let's get at it, shall we? So, first up is that Beidou launch that, you know, China never streams their launches. It launched successfully! So, and surprise, but this is not the real surprise, here's the launch video. Just some shots inside the control room, some text about site being sent out. This was a navigation satellite. Nice little animation of the wings coming out. Some nice shots, some nice time-lapse shots of the everything being set up there. So I thought that was pretty cool. So it launched successfully, which is awesome. I know you're mad that China doesn't, live stream their launches, but there's nothing I can do about that. Are you done? Are you done being angry that China doesn't live stream their launches? No. If you don't like it, go outside. Out. Go. Puck has opinions on China not live streaming their launches. Alright, so the next launch that happened, which some of you missed because of the time of day it was, which here was kind of late mid-afternoon, but in India was actually early morning. So ISRO, it's India's Space Research Organization, I believe, had a successful launch last night, and it was a radar satellite for remote sensing. And here is this isn't the actual image of the satellite that went up. This is an illustration of RISAT-2. They sent RISAT-2 Bravo up last night, and I imagine that RISAT-2 Bravo probably looks like this. So the interesting bit is that these are downlinked in the X-band, but they also operate in that same band with their radar. So they actually probably have to stop radaring in order to downlink or, beam their data back down to Earth. Or else, if that's not the case, their actual radar is fairly narrow in bandwidth. It's not entirely clear what the case is because it's a remote sensing satellite, and that is kind of sensitive technology. It's not necessarily a failing that it's like that, because a few discrete X-band frequencies can theoretically produce a good set of images while setting aside the rest of that for comms. So you have a little bit that is used for getting the images, and then the rest of it being used to send all the information back down to Earth. So, and in case you missed the launch last night, there's also, wait for it, of course, a launch video from that.
Minus 15
Just
seconds.
sit back and see the launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
इस समय रॉकेट प्रज्वलित हो गया है और अपने गंतव्य की ओर धीमे धीमे उठ रहा है। इस
Plus
रॉकेट
5
की
seconds.
230 टन वजन वाला यह रॉकेट अपने गंतव्य की ओर जा रहा है।
A perfect liftoff from the launch pad. On your screens, the early morning launch gives you a beautiful view of the flame of the exhaust of PS1 climbing into the atmosphere slowly, steadily on towards its path, towards its final orbit.
इस समय हमारे स्क्रीन पे जो फ्लाइट पैरामीटर्स दिखाए जा रहे हैं, जो प्रेडिक्शन किया गया है और जो एक्चुअल आ रहे हैं, वो एक दूसरे के ऊपर ही चल रहे हैं।
Can you hear the roar? Can you hear the roar of the vehicle?
इस समय रॉकेट से निकलने वाली जो आवाज है, उस समय वायुमंडल को गुंजित कर रही है, और जो लोग बाहर से देख रहे होंगे, आपको भी वो आवाज आपके टीवी स्क्रीन पर आ रही होगी। और हम इस समय 1 मिनट के आसपास पहुंच रहे हैं।
Plus 1 minute.
PS1 thrusting with its full power. This stage is about 20 meters in height, and PS1 has developed a peak thrust of 4,800 kilonewtons. This will burn for about 105 seconds, and it has a specific impulse of 270 seconds. The stage burns out at the altitude of 52 kilometers. We are now at the altitude of 27 kilometers.
इस समय हम 1 मिनट और करीब 30 सेकेंड तक चल चुके हैं और ये प्रथम चरण का जो रॉकेट से निकलने वाला प्रणोद इसको धीमे धीमे ऊपर की ओर लेते जा रहा है और इसकी गति बढ़ती चली जा रही है। इस रॉकेट का प्रचलन करीब करीब 110 सेकंड तक रहता है। अब हम लोग करीब 90 सेकंड से
You will
ऊपर
see the burnout of PS1 shortly. You can see the PS1 has burnt out and the
इस
ignition
समय आप
of
देख
this-
सकते हैं वीडियो में आपका PS1 और PS2 का पृथक हो गया है और
a beautiful view of the separated bodies.
All right, hit pause there. So I figured y'all would enjoy that, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So they did have you were able to actually see the separation between the two stages. This first stage separating from the rest of the rocket, which I thought was actually pretty neat, and you could see kind of where it bloomed out. And when we were watching it live last night, it looked like bad things were happening, but it turned out okay. And as far as I know, it's safely in orbit, you know, where it needs to be, doing, you know, the work it needs to do to, you know, fulfill it, you know, its mission for India. So the next launch that's coming up is later tonight, but it's a Chinese launch. If you don't recognize this logo, this is essentially China's National Space Agency logo, and China infamously does not live stream their launches. So we will not be streaming this because there's nothing to stream. But if you know of an informal stream somewhere, please tell me, because we will co-stream it. I will drop like all the things and we will co-stream the informal stream. I don't think that's going to happen. So I've mentioned this launch probably last week, because last week I thought it was going to happen on the 20th, and now it's happening tonight at 22:45 UTC, and that's 6:45 p.m. East Coast and 3:45 p.m. West Coast. This is the Yaogan 33 mission, and no, I have no idea why the launch slid. It's another remote sensing satellite, so it's probably a sensitive or classified payload, which is why I really don't expect to see a whole lot of informal streaming, but you never know. We might find it. So I do know that it will be launched on a Long March 4 Charlie. So this is not a small satellite or satellites. Here's the deal. The last 6 Yaogan missions had been multiple satellites, with 5 of those considered to be probable LN, which means that this mission could be multiple satellites that are also for LN. Alright, so now you're all like, WTF is LINT? And LINT, by the way, is Echo Lima India November Tango. It stands for electronic intelligence, which is essentially intelligence gathering by use of electronic sensors, with the primary focus on non-communication signals intelligence. So hold that for a second and process it. What they're doing is they're collecting information about not what is being communicated, because we can't actually encrypt radio signals, but where the signals are coming from and going to, or at least coming from. A good example of this would be intercepting a particular set of signals sent from a particular place / time / duration, frequency, etc., 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 essentially gathering all the details about that one particular signal, and then noticing that within a few minutes, 2 carrier groups previously observed heading in one direction are suddenly heading in different directions. In different directions, now look like they're heading, you know, to meet up or something. That's probably very confusing. So one carrier group going this way, one carrier group going this way, they turn, and then they look like they're going to meet up. So having that info on several such incidents, you can, from the same set of signaling sources, would tend to validate that that one particular set of antenna belongs to this organization. So that's kind of important things to know. I know it's high level, but probably gathering information on, what is being sent where and when, etc., etc., etc. Because it's not easy to decrypt encrypted radio signals, but you can catch where they're coming from and potentially where they're going to. All right. So, the next upcoming launch is, yes, I know we've talked about this before, is SpaceX. So this has been scrubbed not once, but twice. The first scrub was due to weather. I think it was high atmosphere winds. And the second scrub was for software updates. I'm not joking. Software updates. So this is the third attempt, and that attempt will be on the 24th at 2:30 a.m. UTC. For those of us that are in minus UTC range, that's going to be tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. East Coast and 7:30 p.m. West Coast. The launch window is 90 minutes. It's not instantaneous, so there could be delays. So essentially, if it doesn't go exactly at 2:30 UTC, it could go for a while. This is going to be a late stream. We are planning on streaming this, and yeah, if we get it far enough advance of a scrub, we won't be streaming. If we don't, then I don't know. There's a drone ship involved in this mission. It's going to be, of course, I Still Love You. This core has been flown before. I don't remember which mission. I'm sorry, I don't. But I do know it's been flown before. So the payload is this whole Starlink thing, and these are, on the left is an image of 60 Starlink satellites loaded into a Falcon fairing. For comparison, on the right is a Tesla loaded into a Falcon fairing. So that's just how many satellites there are in there. Yes, they're flat packed. Yes, they're huge. We're talking 227 kilograms per satellite. That's 115 2-liter bottles is the weight or mass, or however you want to think of it, of one satellite. And they're in there like a deck of cards. So yeah, the alleged deployment method will be to spin the upper stage and let small differences in angular momentum between each of the satellites fan them out into places far enough apart so they can use their electric propulsion system to do the rest of the work getting into their desired orbit. That's wild. They're going to spin and just kind of fling them off into space so they're far enough away from each other so they don't crash into each other, and then they'll get up into their orbit. That's wild. So previously Elon had said much will go wrong, consider this a dress rehearsal, and now we finally know why much can go wrong. They're literally just going to spin them off of their I guess loading mounts. They're mounted on something, but that's just wild. It's just wild. Yeah, and this is just an image of what they expect the finished constellation to look like. And before I told you that these would be below the ISS, that's my mistake. I apologize. They're actually going to be above the ISS. So there's a large number of satellites, but because they're above the ISS, they shouldn't interfere with the International Space Station missions involved and such. All right, one more launch to talk about, and then, I'll get to questions. So, GLONASS. is going to be launched May 27th at approximately 600 hours UTC. That's going to be 2 a.m. Eastern Time, and that'll be on May 27th. Because that is at such an early hour of the morning, and I don't know if there's going to be a live stream, don't count on us streaming this. That's really early or late. It depends. I'm not usually awake then. This is technically a state and military sponsored launch, so they may not totally release what time it's going to be until the very last minute. But we're thinking it's going to be early in the morning. And GLONASS is essentially Russia's equivalent of GPS. So these are launched in trios, and that is 1,415 kilograms per satellite. That is a total of 4,345 kilograms to middle Earth orbit. That's well over 2,000 2-liter bottles of soda. That's a lot. And our instro had a good note that that this is a good time to point out that in science and news media, as well as movies and TVs, we tend to see and visualize spacecraft with solar panels orbiting in this wings out, like as in they're flying east-west configuration. This is incorrect in all cases where the satellite is not orbiting in a due north-south fashion. So if the satellite was going essentially around the poles, I believe, I'm kind of struggling to visualize this. The wings would be out in the east-west. This is north, this is south, east-west, or west-east. I'm not the greatest at that. Hey, I know! The dogs are upset that I get left and right confused still. So when they're in a geostationary east-west orbit, so I'm assuming that's around the Earth like this, it wouldn't allow the wings or the solar panels to catch a lot of light for energy. So they're more deployed at a 90-degree angle to the plane of orbit. So if they're going around like this, the wings aren't like this, they're going to be like this. And I think I didn't screw that up too badly, and I hope I didn't confuse anybody, because I feel a little confused myself. Alright, so, let's do the questions! Alright, so I'm going to go all the way back up as far as I can, and then we'll see what questions there are. So if you have any questions, go ahead and tag both myself and Starstrider in them, and we will do our best to answer. So, Ruffsmat asks, are ISRO using the X-band carrier wave to take radar measurements with the data stream going back to the ground imposed on the carrier? I don't think so. The way that our instro explained it to me is that they either have to stop one to do the other, or they're using like one piece of that band to take measurements and then using the rest of that band to send data down. That is my understanding of it. Astro B points out that that many countries send India international aid. Yes, we do. And yes, they have a space program. India is considered part of developing nations by the UN, and they are also part of BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The difference between the haves and have-nots in India, as well as Brazil, I can't speak about any other countries, is huge. In India, you have people that can afford to live in places with indoor plumbing and have technology in cars, and I'm assuming also people to come help with domestic things. And that's the haves. And the have-nots in India, they probably don't have indoor plumbing. They may not have electricity. They may just be living in a shack. The differences are immense, and India is a huge country with a lot of different terrain and geographical things. Like, it's really hard to just run water and cable and everything through a mountain or over the mountains. It's also really hard to do trains and roads, and some parts of the country, they have, good asphalt roads that a lot of us are used to, and some parts it's a really rough dirt road. You might be lucky if there's gravel kind of thing. So yes, they have a space program. Yes, they are a developing nation. And just remember that the difference between the people that have money and things and stuff, like the haves, like the people that we see in the control room, and the people that don't, are huge. Like, might as well be two different countries huge. So yeah, they're working on getting their infrastructure and things like that together. So, yeah. Veronica asks, what was that tile-looking stuff coming off the Indian rocket as it first took off? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's covered in tiles. The space shuttle was covered in ceramic tiles that act as insulators. I don't know if that's the case for ISRO's rockets. I know it was solid fuels, so they didn't have like any gas venting, things of that nature. It may have just been something that fell off. I didn't notice it, so I didn't go looking, quite frankly. So, yeah. Refsmat says, when Chinese launch videos come out is nice, and there's also sometimes video of the spent rocket stages crashing on the outskirts of town. Yes, that happens. Yes, things can happen, like highways can be shut down. It's kind of amazing. Larry Weird asks, any hint when the first module of Tiangong 3 will launch? Tiangong 3 will be the third Chinese space station. Tiangong 2 is still in orbit. It is unoccupied. And, yeah. I have no idea. I think Larry Weird and Proud makes a comment about this being the heaviest F9 payload ever. I think it's the heaviest. I did not look up the statistics. So there we go. Michael T. Meyer for the save with which mission that this Corps has previously flown in. The first stage was previously supported the Telstar 18 Vantage mission in September 2018, as well as the Iridium 8 mission in January 2019 from the SpaceX notice about the stream. Yeah, I admit that I had time to look it up and I didn't add it. So thank you for the save. No, the target orbit. See, I thought it was below the ISS, but part of me is like #blame Dave. But because Dave has been helping me out these last couple of weeks with my slides. So originally he pointed out that these would be below the ISS, and then when he looked at my slides for today, he's like, oh wait, I made a mistake. The ISS is at 400 kilometers away from Earth, and these are going higher than that. So there's that. That's why the confusion. That's what the confusion is. Larry says Elon said they will be bouncing satellites and solar-powered ion with krypton fuel. What color does krypton plasma glow? Is that a real thing? I feel like that's not a real thing. Apparently it is a real thing, though. Somebody else says that it's rather white due to the mixture. Krypton is whitish. Okay. Look at me not knowing that krypton's a real thing. Jandra points out, Alright, so the first set of 1,600 satellites are going to 550 kilometers orbit, which is above the ISS. And then there's going to be 2,800 at 1,150 meters orbit, so that's still above the ISS. And then there's going to be a even larger set of 7,500 at 340 kilometers. That's the last group, and 340 kilometers is below the ISS. So thank you, Jean Draloon, for pulling up that information and clearing up all the confusion. So, yeah. And Jean Draloon says that would be sheets of ice from the second stage of the rocket. It uses cryogenic fuel. There we go. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Those are... Krypton is a noble gas, not as heavy as xenon, but way cheaper. See, all my chemistry stuff stayed pretty close to the top of the table, so anything that's pretty far down I am not at all familiar with. Alright, so get some dogs on camera. So we've done the questions. This is literally your last chance to ask questions before we get on to the special surprise. Because it's going to take me a second to set up the special surprise. So, Gluten-Free Space asks, what are my thoughts on these thousands of new satellites in close orbits? So, before we get to the special surprise, I want to show you something, Gluten-Free Space, which you may have already seen. Stuff in space. Make this full screen. There we go. So this is stuff in space, right? And it keeps track of, or it's a visual representation of every single piece of stuff out there that we know of, from debris to satellites. I don't know why it doesn't have the color coding thing up, but there's already a lot. So, but we keep really good track of what is where. So, yeah, this, I'm not too worried about it because we pay people good money to keep track of all of these things. And, you know, yeah, accidents happen with like micrometeorites, but we can't track micrometeorites. So, and space is big. Like, yeah, close to Earth, look at all these. They're really, really, really close. And that's what you're asking about, is the low Earth orbit. But if you zoom out, like, there's some stuff way out here. Like Themis. It's not in a whole lot of space. This is part of Arian. I don't think that's ever going to land. I think it's just going to die. It's just going to float in space. So there's stuff that isn't, you know, in a whole lot of orbit. There you can clearly see a band here. We keep really good track of what's in this band. But essentially, there's a lot of people out there that work hard, and their entire living is keeping track of all this stuff. Astro B says, all this stuff in space must ruin Earth-based observing as it passes over. I don't know enough about Earth-based observing to make a comment about that, but because we know where they are in the sky, we can actually subtract them from, we can subtract that spot of data from the other data that's being collected. That much I know of, but that's really because we know of where it is and what it is and things of that nature. I do not know enough about Earth-based observing to make any further comments. There are people that will actually go out and look for these objects, and I can't even remember what the one was called, and now I feel bad. Like, and it's my favorite too, and I can't remember what it's called. Star Song says, to be honest, it looks like part of the reproductive process. I mean, I can see it. I can see it. It kind of does look like a cell. with a nucleus. And as John Darloon points out, there are drop bolts and tools from spacewalks that are not tracked but can cause damage to something in their orbit path. Yes. And I would classify those more as like micrometeorites simply because they're so small. Starsong, it's okay that your comment wasn't astronomical. It's okay. And Astro B says, yeah, I look for ISS and iridium flares, which they're pretty neat. Also, I like this offset band, which Arnstro had explained is, I guess, where satellites go to die. Again, Arnstro, I know you'll watch this later, and I know you'll correct me, so yeah! Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Alright, some more Cheerios for the dogs. So we'll flip over to the dogs, and are you ready for the special surprise? Are you ready for the but wait, there's more? Because there's totally more today. But first, Cheerios for the dogs! Alright, hey Puck, speak! Are you excited? Are you excited about the extra special surprise? Huh? Speak! Come on! Tinker, can you speak? Come on! Speak! Oh, Tinker's just gonna whine. Alright, so here's the Cheerios and speak! Make it rain! Oh, I got both of them to bark! Alright, and sprinkle for Tinkerbell. Which Puck's like, but that's not fair, Mom. And he is totally off camera. Let's see if I can fix that a little. One day there will be a better dog cam. Alright, so the dogs are ready for the special surprise. You're all ready for the special surprise. So let me show you the special surprise. So this is a special surprise. Today, we are finally launching Bennu mappers. What's Bennu? Bennu is that, asteroid. Is it an asteroid? I think it's an asteroid. Anyways, Bennu is a small body that OSIRIS-REx is orbiting right now and collecting images of. And we need your help to mark all of the rocks. It is an asteroid. It's a near-Earth object asteroid. Thank you, Dr. Pamela. I know enough astronomy to be dangerous. I am not the astronomer. So, when you go here, I've already done this, but when you go here, you have to make your own login for the webpage, and it is literally bennu.cosmoquest.org. So, come on. And I will paste it in here. So it'll prompt you to make or to register for a new account, and then after that, as it says in big text, this login is unique to the Bennu's Mappers project. And with the please provide an accurate email address so you can get emailed with results, because we want to keep you updated on all of the stuff that you guys help us find, because we really could not do this without your help. I know we say this a lot. This is a big project and we need a lot of eyes. So here's with all of that. Also, your email will not be shared outside of our science team and will only be used for science updates and any questions we may have related to giving you credit for your discoveries. We will not, and I repeat, we will not share or sell your email address, and I doubt we're going to spam you. So please give us an accurate email address so we can actually contact you if, you found something that's really cool and we want to actually give you credit. We want to give you credit for the stuff you guys find. This is super important for us. So, why are we doing this? Well, OSIRIS-REx needs to pick samples, and this is going to help us, decide where samples come from. So here's what you'll see, and I have not gone through the tutorial yet, so this is brand new to me. So we're going to learn how to erase a mistake, find a crater, find a boulder, and find a rock. So here's the tutorial, and we're pretty much just going to walk right through it. Here's the mistake. So we're going to, you click on the eraser tool, you click on the green circle, And then now we need to, show that we can find craters. Craters are circular holes in the ground with bright sunlight on one side and a dark shadow on the other. So, Dr. Pamela says this tutorial uses data from, I don't know how to pronounce that asteroid that we had before we got to Bennu. This is so much easier to work with. Gluten-free Space says, the geologist in me just peed a little. Well, I'm going to assume that that's a happy thing. That's a happy thing. So if you need to see examples of craters, they are over here on the right-hand side. And apparently you can't scroll through, but the tutorial is going to show us how to mark the first one. See, very slowly, click on one edge, drag to the other. And then there's only one other crater in this image, so we're going to, as close as you can get it, click on one edge, drag to the other to make a nice little circle. Don't worry about it being perfect. It does not need to have to be perfect. DPI is suggesting a pronunciation, and Itokova? I want to say Itokawa, because it looks Japanese. It looks Japanese. So, Larry Weird asks, what is the smallest circle possible? An example under hide your marks will be nice. So, the smallest, it's probably a little hard to see, but when you start a circle, it'll be red. And it'll turn green when it's large enough. A good rule of thumb is that if your cursor is set to standard size, we don't care about craters that are smaller than their cursor. So, eat Okawa. So I was close. Itokawa. Ugh. Alright, so these images are from Itokawa. Can you turn the image around to help your perception? I don't think so. I think this is all done on purpose. Sometimes craters, to some people, will look like hills, and that's just kind of the nature of it. But it is indeed a crater. So I think for reasons, because reasons, you can't rotate the image. So this is just showing the hide your marks thing, that you can actually hide your marks if you want to mark more marks, and show your marks again. So, and the pop-up now says, marking boulders. You might have noticed that there are a few smaller crater-like things in this image. These are actually boulders. The shadows on the opposite side, the shadows are on the opposite side to compare to craters. The edges are sharper, and they usually aren't circular. So, okay. So here's the boulder tool, and it'll pop up with examples of boulders over here, and it's going to mark 2 of them for us, and then we'll see if we can find the last one. So there goes the cursor, and just click and drag from one end to the other. And then it goes to the other one, and click and drag. I know, Tinker. Here, have some Cheerios. And there, we're going to mark the last one, which is right here. So we're going to click on one edge of it and drag to the other. So boom. And now there's still more things to mark. So the things that are tiny and have shadows on the other side of craters, like the boulders, but are smaller than craters. And these are rocks. So the pop-up says, great job. Lastly, we're going to mark the rocks in the image. Rocks are each of the tiny dots and circles in the image. There are over 100 of them in this image, and we want to mark as many as we can. So select the rock tool. Oh my. I'll mark a few of them, and you can get the rest. Part of me is like, you're joking, right? You really don't want me to get all 100. Hey, thanks for the follow. Michael T. Meyer says, my problem is that there's a small round thing that looks like a crater, but you said there were only 2. It's because it wasn't a crater, it was a rock. There were 2 crater, or not rocks, excuse me, it was a boulder. There were 2 craters, 3 boulders, and apparently 100 rocks. And it wants me to mark 80 of them. So, yeah. Hey, Dodo! Nice to see you. How's school been? It's going well. We got this whole Bennu Mappers thing up, and we're playing around with that. I'm still going through the tutorial, and I am kind of legit dreading marking 80 rocks. Okay, we can do this. Alright. I know you guys can't see the dogs, but the dogs are sitting oh so patiently, and I'm going to throw Cheerios at them because they have been good. Yeah, so here's the Cheerios, and make it rain! And we're gonna make it dribble for Tinker. Or not dribble, but sprinkle. There you go, Tinker. Have your own Cheerios. Alright, so yeah, thanks for the follow, Broke Astronomer. Broke Astronomer says, hello, I've been streaming astronomy on Twitch on and off a few months, but I have not set up my channel as nicely as you have. Congrats on your success. I'll be following. Thank you. Yeah, it's... Oof. It's been a process making this look nice. So, but alright, here we go to mark 80 rocks. Alright. 80. These are just clicks, right? Oh goodness, they're just clicks. I can do this. I can do just clicks. That looks like a tiny crater because the shadow's on the right side versus the left side. So what I would love here, but isn't going to happen, this is a crater because the shadow's on the wrong side, is a magnifying glass, but I know that's not going to happen for reasons just like you can't rotate the image. There are ways to magnify the image like using accessibility options, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Because it's actually okay to not mark everything. Believe it or not, it's okay to not mark everything. We literally want you to do as much as you can without overdoing it. Because the idea is that if we get enough people to mark these images, we're essentially going to kind of average everything out. And with enough input and enough practice, you, as a regular citizen, are just as good as marking these objects as a professional is. Because yes, there are people paid to do this, but they are usually undergrads, I believe. And the idea with doing this, spreading it out so there's not like 300 images for one person to process, but instead maybe 30 images for 10 people or 3 images for 100 people. The more people we get to do this, the easier it is. And eventually, oh wow, there really are a lot of rocks in this image. And eventually, kind of average everything together. I am not Suex says, nice, school, it's tiring. I have math exams tomorrow. And geometry, polynomials, factorization, quadratic equations, complex numbers, etc., etc. You got this. You got this, Dodo. And yes, we want your brains. We really do want your brains. Susie says, this practice image is a bit more bleak than regular images. They have tons more stuff on it. It is indeed, because I've seen some of the real ones. Oh my gosh, do I have 80 yet? I know, Tinker, there's a lot of rocks. I'm glad you liked the button, Dodo. I'm glad you liked the button. I know, Tinker. Tinker's not happy about all of your exam tomorrow. Oh, good. We got 80 finally. All right. Some Cheerios for the dogs. We're going to flip over so you guys can see the dogs. And look at Puck's happy face. Can you speak? Come on, speak. All right, see? That Puck's different. Hey, that was a bit much. And make it rain. And make it... Oh, is she gonna... She's not going to make it on camera. Maybe if I toss more over there, she'll get on camera. Oh, look, we have both dogs on camera. Yeah, yeah. Oof. But yeah, having 10 people look at like the same 3 images is actually way better than having one person look at, 30 images, because you might catch something that your friend doesn't. You might have the stamina to hit every single rock, where I'm like, okay, I need to hit just enough rocks to get through this. And that's okay. Maybe you just want to mark boulders. Okay. But still, we want you to mark something. Maybe you're in a mood to mark all the teeny tiny rocks. That's okay. That's okay, because I can already see myself marking boulders and not much else. But then I'm sure the website will get angry at me and then make me take the tutorial again. All right. You ready, Tinker? Have some more Cheerios. All right. I think Puck's too busy eating. Hey, Tinker. Hey, Puck. Speak. Oh, don't make that face at her. Tinker, can you speak? Speak. Come on. She's prancing in place off camera where you can't see her. All right. Come here. I have sprinkled bits just on Tinker for you, Veronica. They're literally hitting her back and rolling off. Yeah, single eyewitnesses are kind of unreliable, and some of you might be wondering, why don't we just have a computer do this? We program computers to do things, repetitive tasks like this all the time. Here's the thing. Computers are terrible at pattern recognition. Humans are awesome at it. Humans really are awesome at pattern recognition. That is our superhero. You ever look at something and, an inanimate object like a chair or a building or just some random scribbles or paint flecks and think, oh, that looks like a face? That's because our brain's hardwired to look for things like faces and all of that. And DPI says this is an EVE Online learning like curve. Just do as much as you can. So I'm going to click here to click image because I'm almost done with the tutorial. Oh, I am done with the tutorial. It says tutorial complete. Great job. We're going to start the real thing now. Log in, find as many craters in each image as you can, and contribute to real NASA science. Or if you want to keep practicing, continue without logging in. This really should say craters, boulders, and rocks. So, hey, Loopy Dragon. Yes, this is about the Bennu mapping. This is definitely about the Bennu mapping. We just went through the tutorial. Now we're going to go through the, we're going to do the first image. And after that, this is indeed a real image from Bennu. And after that, I don't know. Because there's going to be another stream starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, because it's 2 p.m. Eastern for me, where I talked to somebody from Osiris Rex. But I'm going to need some time in between to get set up. But yeah, you can totally help us map. There's not a lot of craters. I know it says at the end of the tutorial, help us map craters, but there's a lot of boulders. So yeah. Like, look at this thing. This thing's totally a boulder. From one edge to the other. Another from one edge to the other. That one's kind of off screen, so I'm not going to worry about that one. There's a lot of boulders on this surface. It's not smooth at all. The Gem Doctor says, it's called, I can't pronounce that word, seeing faces, etc. and stuff. I think it's Periodola? I'm going to go with Periodola. And it will be Karina from Osiris Rex. Pareidolia. Okay. It'll be Karina from Osiris Rex that I'll be chatting with. So, and map a few of these boulders. And probably do, actually I'll probably do as many boulders as I can see. So the rocks in this image are actually way tiny. Because those, if you missed it, are marked with just a dot. So what you think are rocks are really boulders. And there are indeed a lot. And just mark as many as you can. It's okay if you don't get them all. I admittedly will probably wimp out after doing so many. But having everybody, or as many people as we can, do this helps, especially when you have people like me that are like, oh my goodness, this is way too much. Just mark what you can. The more you mark, the better it is. But if you can't mark everything, or you can't see the differences in things, that's okay. We understand. There's a lot to do here. Like, this image is very busy compared to the tutorial images. So, alright. Later, Larry. Have a good day, Larry. Loopy Dragon says, I got to watch the Osiris Rex launch from 2 miles away back in 2016. And after having gotten a crash course in what the mission was planned to do through all the exhibits they had at the visitor center that day. I'm excited for this thing. I know, right? It took so long to get there, but it's there. And it's doing the thing. And I'm admittedly probably going to switch over to rocks soon because I know there's a bunch of boulders. But I'm starting to kind of struggle to differentiate one thing from another. I think that's a boulder. So rocks are kind of small. So like that's a rock. Essentially, if it fits under a dot, it's a rock. If it's bigger than the dot, then it's a boulder, I guess. But these images are really busy. I think that's a rock. That's a rock. There's a lot of rocks. Oh my, there's a lot of rocks. Oh my. Doot. I know! Dogs are like, but there's too many rocks, Mom. I know, Tinker. I know, there's a lot of rocks, but it's important to mark as many as you can. Alright. I'm going to be a wuss, and I'm going to tap out after probably a few more clicks. Because I need to get set up for the next stream, and I apparently need to eat something. I don't even know if that was a rock. Oh look, that's a boulder. It's a teeny tiny boulder, but it's still a boulder. That's a boulder. That's a boulder. That's a boulder. And there's purposefully no scale on these. So don't worry too much about the scale. And yeah. Boom, boom. 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 Okay. Starstrider says, if any of you were on stream with me when we got the first Bennu images, my reaction was jaw-dropping. Oh my god, rocks, rocks, the horror of rocks, because I knew we have to map these. Loopy Dragon asked, did we know Bennu was this sort of rubble pile-ish bundle of rocks asteroid? No. No. Starstrider replies with, dear god, no, this is a worst-case nightmare of rocks. Yeah. We expected it to look like the tutorial images of Itokawa. It's fine, Dodo. I'm glad you stopped in, so you got to see a little bit of Bennu at least, so go study for your math. I can't tell the difference between those. Itokawa? Itakawa. Oh, JB McCool, I'm not sure. But yeah, Dodo, good luck on your exam. You got this, and we'll see you later. Bye. So, Star says Bennu and... Oh my goodness, I'm terrible with names. Ragua were both... were like, oh, you thought you could easily drop down and grab a rock, but no, here we are going to challenge you as much as we can. And this one's like, so you want some rocks? We got some rocks for you. Somebody needs to make a meme of that. You want some rocks? I got some rocks. Have some rocks. There are so many rocks. So many rocks. Oh, Ed Thompson donated bits. We're gonna flip over to the dogs and give our eyes a rest from the rocks. Hey, Puck, can you speak? Come on, speak. Puck says thank you. I say thank you. Tinker is literally hiding. And make it rain! And enjoy the fluffy dog. So, and we're gonna make it sprinkle on Tinkerbell. So DPI says, you get a rock, and you get a rock, and you get a rock. Everyone gets a rock. Oh my goodness, yes, there are so many rocks. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Loopy Dragon says, does it being made of this many rocks make it more scientifically interesting? I'm gonna wait for Star Strider to ask that. Michael T. Meyer says, Star Strider, are we supposed to mark the boulders that overlap the edge of the image? Apparently the answer is yes, please. So let me do that. I'm gonna mark that one, and mark this one, and mark that one. I can't tell if that's a boulder. I'm going to assume it's a boulder. That looks like another tiny boulder. That's a boulder. I've seen a finished image of this look like a petri dish. So there's that. There's that. And there are rocks on top of boulders periodically. So, Dr. Pamela, did you catch Loopy Dragon's, oh, good. I failed to make that GIF. I'm sorry. Tinker, you're on my foot. Did you catch Loopy Dragon's question about, does it being made of this many rocks or have this many rocks on the surface make it more scientifically interesting? Yeah, there are totally boulders on top of rocks. How? How did it get this rocky? Why is it this rocky? This is not what I had in mind. At all. So many clicks. Just remember, you are better than our robot overlords at this. It is indeed a rubble pile. Loopy Dragon, I think that's a good question for Karina later. Because, you know, this is kind of her jam. Dr. Pamela says, missed that. Yes, it is more interesting. It is a pile of gravel gravitationally held together, waiting to spit at our spacecraft. That's not terrifying or anything. Not at all. Yeah, not at all. Okay. So I am officially tossing in the towel here, which makes me feel bad because I know there's so much more to mark. There really is so much more to mark. Oh geez. Oh my. Oh man. Oh man. There is so much more to mark. What I have marked is just the, is just literally just scraping the surface. No pun intended. Star Strider adds, Bennu actually spews debris. Loopy Dragon follows up with, is that scary or threatening to spacecraft, or are the relative velocities low enough that it's fine? I could see it being a danger to spacecraft. I really can. And I guess the answer to that is we don't know yet. But it is spewing debris. I know. You don't like that it could be a potential hazard to spacecraft either. I know, Puck. Okay. I am officially throwing in the towel. I know I've said this like 2 or 3 times. but I need to take a break. So I'm going to mark image done. Is it not going to let me? Why won't it let me click image done? No, I want to skip the tutorial. Oh, this did not go as planned. Alright, we're marking the boulders real quick. And then we'll... I know, there's way more boulders. The more I look at it, the more I see more boulders. Okay? Okay? I know. I know. I'm going to be the worst mapper on this project. Because I'm just going to be like, alright, I'm going to tap out. Guido says, Osiris Rex needs a sticker. Honk if you like rocks. For real, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There's so many boulders in this image. Shh. I know, Puck. I know. That's a boulder. That's... You know, if there was copper or iron in this, the scrappers would be digging through this like nobody's tomorrow. Or, I don't know. That made zero sense. I am sorry. But yeah. All I can think of was if these rocks were iron, the scrappers would have cleaned it off by now. For those of you that don't know, I live in the Rust Belt. And, empty houses do not keep their copper for very long. Loopy says, what if there is? Well, I don't think we have the technology to harvest it yet, but it would be super cool. It would be super cool. Alright. We are going to mark the most obvious ones. I can hear my stomach grumbling. And please let me click image done this time. Please let me click image done. I want to be able to click image done on the air. That almost looks like it might be a crater. You know what? I'm marking it as a crater. I'm marking it as a crater. Because it looks like it could be. It's just... Oh, I can't mark boulders over that? That's... I do indeed. Yeah, I think I have to mark boulders first. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click show, and then we're gonna delete, and we're gonna mark the heck out of this little crater before I mark the crater itself. Because it totally looks like a crater to me. No. Oh, okay. That was a little weird. Rock. Rock. This crater is full of rocks. That's a rock. That's a rock. That's definitely a rock. And there's the outline. Okay, so now I think I can mark the crater part over it. And just like that. And I know that was difficult to see. I know that it was difficult to see the crater, and there are example images of what craters look like. And yeah, they are tricky to see. And to me, it just looked like a circle, and it didn't look like there was a whole lot of other debris. So, but yeah, apparently you need to mark boulders and rocks before you mark craters. Loopy Dragon says, and of course lots of people are going to be doing the same images in parallel, so there's going to be a large data set to cross-reference. Yes? Or right? And the answer is yes. And Michael says, we just need a supersized Osiris-Rex to hoover up the whole asteroid. And yeah, I kind of live in the dystopian fiction part of the US, but a lot of people would argue that's Detroit. And Detroit, I have never visited you. I think I've been close to you. Actually, have I been to Detroit? I'm not sure if I've been to Detroit proper. But Cleveland's thing for a while was, you know, at least we're not Detroit. No lie, that's kind of Youngstown's thing too, is at least we're not Detroit. That's not depressing or anything. Some of these are kind of on the edge of boulder size, and I'm just going to click them as rocks. I don't know what these really bright things are, so I'm also marking them as rocks. But yeah, if we don't have a way to harvest them currently, but there are people that are interested in harvesting asteroids, especially if they're really iron heavy, because, you know, iron is useful and valuable, and there's only so much of it on Earth. So yeah, people would love to get their hands on more, you know, more metals. But DPI says, on the upside, there's a maximum number of rocks you can mark in a single image. Does it really cut you off at some point? What do you do? Hit like 100, 200? What was the number you had to hit before it said, okay, you can't mark any more rocks? Because now I'm curious. See? See? Pim was like, I didn't know our software did that. And apparently, yes, the answer is our software did that. So, now it's going to be something that I'm going to dig through the code for and see if I can find that, because it had to be programmed in somewhere. Someone somewhere had to program that. But I am definitely interested in knowing what that number was. DPI. Oof. Okay. Oh, it doesn't actually cut you off. But if the image is 800 by 800 and a rock is a 4-pixel circle, then there is a maximum. Oh my. Oh my. I mean, that's one way to put it. So apparently it's 40,000. I'm not going to math that. I'm really not. Oh shoot, okay, it did let me click image done, and then I clicked a blank image. Okay, so there, you all have seen me click an image done. This one has a nice couple of very obvious boulders. So yeah, I'm going to mark the nice, very obvious boulders, and that looks like a part of a crater right there, so I'm going to mark the crater too. And then, for real, I'm going to log, or I'm going to sign off. And we're going to let auto hosting do its thing, because I'm going to be back on the air shortly. So rather than just leaving you with the rocket animation for 30 minutes, we're just going to sign off for a little bit, take a break, stretch our legs, get everything set up for the next thing. I'm going to get a bite to eat because I'm hungry. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to mark this crater, and part of me is like, I should mark the rocks in the crater. That's not a rock, that's totally a boulder. Boulder. It's a tiny boulder compared to some of these. So boulder, rock, 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 rock. Oh my gosh, there's so many rocks. Yeah. I know. And then you can move your crater markings. I think you can move your boulder markings too. No, you cannot. Or can you? You cannot move your boulder markings. You can move your crater markings, but not your boulder markings. And I can't. There we go. So, that's your intro. Look at me not being able to stop. That is your intro to Bennu, and we will be back in about 40-50 minutes, more or less, to talk to Karina from Osiris-Rex about Bennu and things of that nature. And yeah, so If you're marking, keep on marking, and yeah, we'll see you in a little bit. So I'm gonna click image done one more time, and boom, see, it pops up yet another image. So many, so many. So yeah, I'm gonna roll the credits, and then we'll log off and do the thing. So thank you. All right, so now we're gonna do the wall of text. So this has been Daily Space, which is part of CosmoQuest, and we do a whole bunch of things, including mapping Bennu and Mars and things. And our host institution is PSI, working in collaboration with Youngstown State University. And thank you for all of your support for all of the things. And we will be right back, and we will do more stuff. So stay tuned, take a break, stretch your legs, and I'll see you in a little bit. Bye!